So I'm doing good. So, Christin, we're here in town. You're new in town, right?
I'm new in town.
Now, how do you say your last name, Christin?
Newman.
Oh, so that was hard. Christin
Yeah.
Newman.
Newman.
Like Newman from Seinfeld.
Like Newman from Seinfeld. I get that line. Hello, Newman.
Okay, so Newman, you're here on the Sports Philosophy Show, brought to you by Universal Pest, KD Rounds, and College Athletics Consulting. So on the show here, tell us a little bit about your background. You played some college tennis. Where did you play college tennis?
I played at College of Charleston. That's where I graduated from. I played the #1 single spot there and the #3 double spot. Graduated in 2013. Did 2 years of Teach for America in Charleston County in a little town called Hollywood, South Carolina, Baptist Hill High School.
And now back to the tennis. In your tennis, your team won some conference championships.
Yes, we won conference championship every year.
Now, to win a conference championship, that thrill of victory, because not only do you win the conference championship, you also get NCAA qualification.
That's a big deal, yes.
So did you ever look at the other team that lost and how because to get to the finals and win is cool. Everybody's jumping down, up and down, going to the NCAA, you get a trophy, and then there's the other team who's not getting the trophy. Did you ever look over and go, God, that's I feel bad for that.
No, I was too excited for myself. My team was jumping up and down. We didn't pay attention across the court.
Okay. Now, you were also Conference Player of the Year, too.
I was.
And that's and what conference was that?
It was the Southern Conference.
So that's a pretty established conference. To earn that award, that means you had to be the best of all those schools. And some of the other schools in the conference are?
So it goes College of Charleston, Furman University. Those are the two in South Carolina.
Right.
Then there's Georgia Southern in Georgia, UNC Greensboro, Elon, and then there's Samford. And UT Chattanooga. And then the Citadel's involved, but they do not have a women's tennis team.
Yeah, good observation.
Right. And so
now, was one of those schools a particular rivalry that you had?
Coming in, I was told Furman was the rival, but they only really competed with us that my sophomore year. We played them in the finals, and then after that, we played them in the semis the next couple of years. But it wasn't the same rivalry. It kind of turned over to UNCG, and then it kind of turned over to Elon. But I mean, as far as the Southern Conference goes, it's a lot of Americans, which is unique to college tennis nowadays. Of course, there are some, people who are international, some international players. But for the most part, it's a lot of Americans. So all the girls kind of know each other a little bit better. Grew up to playing with each other and playing against each other and competing. So it's not as much that hatred of a rivalry. There's no Duke Carolina kind of thing going on there.
Now, you mentioned the word rivalry, and previously we were talking about Brad Gilbert coaching Roddick and so forth. I don't know if you remember this. Roddick lost to Federer, and I think it was the finals of Wimbledon. And somebody asked him, "Hey, is it a rivalry?" And he goes, "No, I got to win some for it to be a rivalry."
Exactly.
So the same thing with Furman.
It was the same thing with all the teams.
Once you started to beat them a lot, hey, it's not really a rivalry.
It's not really a rivalry.
Someone else has to win.
People might have hated us, kind of.
Yeah.
But also we lived in Charleston, South Carolina, so who doesn't hate someone who gets to play tennis in Charleston, South Carolina?
You're on the freaking beach and so forth.
Exactly.
Now, we were talking about sports earlier. You as a tennis player, you're certainly a good striker of the ball, but you're more than that. Not necessarily ugly, but we were talking about the Brad Gilbert, so you really appreciate that, and you've read his books and so forth. Right. Now, what is it you like about? I believe you could expand on, but I think you talked about maximizing your talents as a tennis player.
Right. Well, I was definitely a grinder. I wasn't going to overpower you. So I had to pick up on your weaknesses and highlight my strengths. So that's kind of how I played. I would hit a ball so that they would hit it to my backhand, so I could hit a backhand down the line, which is a very unique strength for a player. So it's not something automatically when you get out there, most players are going to hit it to your backhand.
Right.
And, that might take them a game or two, sometimes a set, sometimes an entire match to figure out, wait, that's her better shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of my job. It was to highlight my weakness, hit you a shot so that you would think you need to hit this shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, you're just setting up my strength.
Right.
And therefore, you know, I'm kind of highlighting more your weakness, maximizing my strength.
Now, the book that that you talked about there, the Brad Gilbert books, and
Right.
in our YouTube video, we're going to list those books down there for everyone. So in case you want to look, because one was I Got Your Back, and then of course Winning Ugly. What did you take away from I Got Your Back when you talked about the Agassi, working with Agassi and working with Roddick? What were your thoughts, or what some kind of feedback you got from that book?
Right. Well, that one's mostly about his coaching days. The Winning Ugly is mostly about his playing days. So you'll get a little more McEnroe in that book, a little more, towards the end, who is this new young Sampras guy? You know, more of that. Whereas the I Got Your Back is the coaching book, where he really is taking down their two styles, their two preparation styles. Like we talked about earlier, Agassi is right here. He's mentally focused. He's got his shorts ready. He's got his outfit out the day before. He's going to go through his preparation down to the T. Whereas Agassi is a little more, you know, a little more scatterbrained.
You mean Roddick?
Roddick, sorry. Roddick is a little more scatterbrained, but, you know, still a great player.
Sure.
But he's going to go in a little more like you said, you know, show up in the match. Oh, wait, Brad, I got two left shoes here. I forgot to lay out my right shoe. You know, that's pretty
it was also neat in the book how Brad talked about working with Agassi, and Agassi was kind of the CEO to a degree. Hey, Brad, we need to behave in such a way, you know, because he had a brand that he was brand focused. Whereas Roddick, it was almost like he was coaching a kid. Like, hey, Brad, if I win this tournament, will you jump out of a plane?
I remember that.
Or Brad is going to get him his favorite Frappuccino thing from Starbucks in the morning. So what was neat is how he approached the players differently to get and maximize performance. And we've seen effective college coaches, like Angelo you had at College of Charleston, is wanting to look out the best interest of that particular player as opposed to treating everyone the same.
Exactly. He definitely did that. Coach Angelo, my coach down at College of Charleston, amazing guy, friendliest guy you'll ever meet. He was much more interested in making my college experience what I wanted it to be. So when I got there and I was like, hey, look, you know, I still want to compete at the highest level. He's like, I got you. He scheduled Florida. He scheduled Georgia. We played Duke. We played Tennessee. We played these high programs, South Carolina. We played SEC. We played ACC. You know, we had the best matches scheduled on our schedule. So, you know, he was like, Christin, here's your shot. Go ahead. And he was more than willing to hit extra with me, take me through an extra practice, let me come out extra when I wanted to. It was more on my terms. But he was also able to, you know, there's people who only need to truly hit an hour to get their rhythm. And when they hit more than an hour, they start thinking more. I wanted to hit that extra hour, but some players just need that good hit. And then they're like, wait, I struck the ball beautifully. I feel great. Let me get out of the court. And he was just as attentive and to their needs as it was to mine.
Now, but you also came from a sort of a tennis environment, meaning you had two sisters that played.
Two older sisters who played,
So you're the baby.
I'm third of four. I'm third of four, but the little sister never touched a tennis racket. Really.
So, but your older sister, she won national plays?
Catherine won national plays and hearts. She won 16 times.
And your parents weren't the typical tennis parents. They were
not.
They weren't crazy.
They were not crazy.
So they just put out the balls and hey, go play tennis.
Nowadays you'll see the parents carrying the bags out to the court and after the match going immediately to the car and saying, you know, this is what you did right. Do you remember that point at 3-all, 30-15 where you hit the backhand down the line where you should have hit cross court? You know, and that kind of thing. My parents were the perfect description. Girls 16s, national hard courts, lots of pictures taken, huge deal. Winner of that match gets a berth to U.S. Open qualies, big deal. That big
Right.
deal. All the coaches, lots of coaches there, lots of people there coming out to watch these two great juniors. And here's Christin Newman, Greensboro, North Carolina, great player. Moms, at the match. So they have this picture where Kevin's going up for a big serve, apparently big point, beautiful. She's, laid out there, laying it on the line. Mom's in the background, lean back, straps down, shoes off, Sudoku in hand. Just right there, filling in the numbers, having the time of her life. She wasn't good. There were no first serve missed on that little Sudoku paper. That was a
So was it like the end of the match? Oh, you won? Oh, congratulations, Hercules, Hercules.
My parents were definitely they were there to if you needed a shoulder to cry on when you had a tough match or someone cheated you out of whatever you played. And, you want to be angry or you want to be happy, they'll give you a hug. They were definitely emotionally involved in that sense because they wanted their daughters to have a good career, be happy, not even have a good career, just be happy. But, when we came off the court and we were just as pissed as ever and we were throwing a temper tantrum and we said, oh, I want to quit, blah, 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 I want to quit. My parents were the first ones to be like, okay. Go ahead, quit. I don't care. That's a little less traveling we got to do, I guess. And that made it was put on us. It's like, whoa, wait, my parents aren't sitting here like, oh, no, we need you to play, blah, blah, blah. Let me live vicariously through you.
Right. Now, on the other hand, though, when you go to college, what do you think is college athletics is something that we promote here a lot. And it's just, whether it's at the Division I, Division III, Division II level, it seems to have so much value. Whether it be the networking of the people, the camaraderie, or just kind of connects you greater to the school. Could you imagine yourself going to college and not playing college athletics, or kind of going to the other end? Share with us some insights of some extra value added stuff you got out of college. You were already a good student. You were valedictorian in high school, so it wasn't like you weren't a good student.
Well, I was a salutatorian in high school, valedictorian in college.
Oh, that's, I think combined I wouldn't have got either. But anyway, so how about the college experience off the court? Did you enjoy being a part of something greater than yourself, and the whole athletic department and so forth?
I wouldn't trade it for the world. You're automatically involved in just a closer family. Every athlete, even on another team, is automatically looking at you, and it's just you almost are together because you've been through something together. They all understand you have to go to that extra 2 hours of practice, hour of conditioning, half an hour study hall, whatever it is. We all have to go through it, and we all have to do this. We had to miss a party on Friday night. We had to miss the party on Saturday night because we had a match the next day, or they had a game the next day. So that automatically brings you closer together. And then there's obviously all the added benefits that you get from being a college tennis player, full ride scholarship, pays for your school, pays for your books, pays for your house, pays for your living, pays for your food. That's huge, obviously. But really, it just playing, especially with tennis, because tennis is an individual sport. Growing up, you play for yourself. When you get to play for a team, there is no greater feeling. That finals of Southern Conference, I got the privilege of closing out the match.
Wait, you were the clincher?
I was the clincher. It was 3-all.
Oh, so you were the clincher all.
When we were up 3-2. And they won the final match. And when it went to 3-3, we were entering our third set. So we had everyone, hundreds and hundreds of people surrounded around this one court. And I was an absolute grinder. I was going to wear you out.
So the clinch for the final. It's 3-3. You're playing the set. You're playing the set for the whole thing.
I'll play for all the marbles.
What was the score in the third?
7-5.
Oh my.
We had a 5-all, 10-deuce, 26-minute game, and I was serving. And Serve was not my game. You know, serve was more. It went from neutral to maybe a little bit more of an attack as I got older. But I was definitely more of a nervous server. My shoulders would go up to here. I remember hitting the best second serves of my life that whole game. Somehow these things were coming out of nowhere, and you know, hitting that ball, and then we went to the other side. I go up 6-5. Aaron, my assistant coach, who was a huge part of my college career, my junior and senior year, huge part, really taught me more about the strategics of the game. I really thought I got a ton better my senior year because of him. Came over and it's like, it's all on you. I got no game plan for you. You go out there, you know it. You go out there and you play the match. And Jordan Johnson, I was playing. She did not. She had trouble choking sometimes in the recent past. She was playing her heart out, and I was playing my heart out. And there we were, final game. I won't forget. I hit that shot, barely got to it in the net. I just lifted up my hands. I've got one of the best pictures of my team, of me pointing over to my team and my whole team erupting and just sprinting on their way, sprinting towards me. And I got goosebumps. There's no greater feeling than getting to play for a team, which is something so different.
So here you played all this individual stuff, and that one team moment where it all comes down to you and your team winning, and that was your senior year.
That was my senior year.
And so that's a heck of a way to break serve. Now, did the game go to deuce?
Not the 6-5 game. The 5-all game did. The 6-5 was 40-30.
So you won the 5-all game with a grinding game, which basically allowed you to win the war because if someone to pony back up and you compete after that game.
Exactly.
So I'm assuming in that game there were a bunch of deuces or ads. But you know what I find is that we help people in the college consulting business. If they find the school that's the best fit, that they're going to have an experience like that one way or the other.
Right. If you don't care about your teammates at the end of the day, you're not having the same
This happens at the Division III level, Division II level, junior colleges, these kinds of competitive opportunities, and they leave memories forever. But even the girl that lost, okay, she lost. What I found, hey, I would rather go and lose in that situation than never played at all. Right,
I totally agree. And to their credit, they won the next year. College Charleston left the conference after that. They're in the Colonial right now.
Yeah.
And Elam stayed in the Southern Conference that year, and they actually won that next year. So they got their moment.
Most of the time you play, and what comes around goes around.
Right.
You know, she's competing against a senior. She takes that experience and applies it on. It just raises the level of everyone.
Right.
But high school or junior players, what I find in the consulting work that we do is often they don't get to go to that match until they play in college. Like if you could go out and see a couple of good battles in anything for a conference championship, they're all hands in.
Right.
Because no matter, there's 30-some conferences in Division I, more in Division III, a little bit less in Division II. All those conference championships is a bunch of people smiling, a bunch of people jumping up and down. It looks the exact same, and they're all competing.
Hoisting that trophy.
So to have, if you're a junior player and so forth, we certainly recommend go see the show and then decide what part of the show you want to be a part of.
Feel like you belong in.
Now, that's some insights here with the tennis. Now, what I understand too from our conversations is not only are you proficient in tennis and had a very good career, but you're also a little bit of a sports freak.
I love sports.
I mean, you listen to Mike and Mike in the morning.
I listen to Mike and Mike in the morning every day.
Now, which Mike do you like best?
Honestly, I have trouble with that question, honestly, because I really think the show would not be the same with either the missing. I hate it when I always think about that because I'm like, oh, because some of them they miss days.
Yeah,
Bowling and Green each miss a day.
Green's go with his kids.
Green's gonna go with his kids or go broadcast his book. Bolt's gonna go with his kids or go do something in the sports world somewhere else, and so they both miss their days. And I'm always bummed when one of them's missing. It doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, it doesn't feel the same.
It just does not feel
Now
the
you've
same.
seen their new look too. It's a
Yeah.
radio show.
I'm not as big as the new look. I'm gonna tell you that.
You like the radio show.
I like the radio show. I like the old look because they
You
just.
You
I mean,
only listen
good
to
for
it or
them.
watch it? Listen or watch
I
it?
listen. I listen.
So,
I listen. I'm on the go, going somewhere, but I listen on my on my phone, Bluetooth it up to the radio in the car and listen.
so phone Bluetoothing up to the radio.
And then when I'm running, I also listen to.
So when you Bluetooth up to the car, that's sort of the poor man's satellite radio.
Yes, that's the part that's all I did. That would be here right here.
Yeah, we're not going to pay the $10
Yeah.
for the satellite radio.
Exactly.
Okay, so how about sporting events? What's kind of some of the best sporting events you've been to outside of tennis?
Well, my dad had season tickets growing up to Cameron Indoor, the Duke State basketball stadium. So those are. He does not. When we got to that age, where we had, soccer practice, tennis late at night, or we were traveling every weekend for a sporting event on our own. It was like, well, why do we still have these things that we can't ever use?
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up giving those up, but and obviously.
Yeah, it's forever.
It's forever.
I took my son to one of those games against Virginia, and I thought you could buy them on StubHub. So
unless you would have paid like.
No, they weren't on StubHub. It wasn't on StubHub.
Wow.
It was against the Virginia game, so I had to call at the time. Jay Lapidus was the coach at Duke, and I had to call him. Hey Jay, how are you kids doing?
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you got 2 extra tickets for me.
Hey.
And he came through. He and Ramsey
awesome.
Smith came through.
That's awesome.
Best friends forever. So I went to the game. Other than when I was walking in, people were buying them for $250 out front. So I thought about it for a second. People are buying $250 being scalped out front.
$250. I mean, those tickets go for $1,000.
Well, this was Virginia. This is not North Carolina. So they were playing, and
still,
Virginia wasn't that good.
Oh, this was before Virginia got good. Okay.
Yeah, before Virginia got good. So anyway, that was pretty good. Sporting events, and they had that Krzyzewski-ville thing going on.
Right.
So what other kind of sports? Because you're kind of a tennis player. You're a tennis player, but you kind of like some competitiveness.
I like it a lot. I see the competitiveness. I love watching the competitive drive in anything. I'm a big fan of watching basketball. Love watching basketball. It's probably my number one is college basketball, just because of the constant passion. I also like football. Mm-hmm. Duke recently has gotten good, but I did grow up a Duke fan, so we weren't huge college football fans.
You grew up a Duke fan, what?
I grew up a Duke fan. My dad went to Duke, so okay. I cheered for the Duke sports.
Football.
And so the football was a little hard to cheer for growing up.
I thought it was a flag football team.
Yeah, they had a joke that they gave money. Lately they've been.
But it's hard to be dominant.
It's very hard.
So Krzyzewski takes away a lot of the market.
I totally agree.
Because if I go there, I feel like second fiddle.
All the time, they talk about that.
I think they're going to fire Krzyzewski.
When Krzyzewski does take his step down, we'll see.
It's hard to be good because, for example, in the Atlantic 10, I know Old Dominion University, they have football, and basketball team dropped for a little bit. They haven't experienced NCAA qualification yet since football was added. But at Virginia Commonwealth and the schools in the Atlantic 10 and the Big East schools, I don't really call that mid-major because it's not mid-major because there's mid-major with football and mid-major without football. So if you're mid-major without football, you're pumping some money into that and branding into the basketball. So,
Totally
so to go to Kentucky, for example, it's Kentucky, Calipari, in the 5 draft picks each year. So it's hard to get jacked up about Kentucky football.
Exactly. Okay, even though they're in SEC, which you would consider.
So what school would you consider that has the most balance for a football dominance and basketball dominance?
Okay, I've got a few here.
Okay, I'm thinking Florida.
I'm also taking Texas.
No,
because Texas did have that really good basketball years, and they're starting back up with Shaka Smart, and then they also have the good football. Obviously just because of Texas, but the football has struggled these past few years as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Oregon this past year, Oregon got 2.
Yeah, but it's funny that the market, that basketball team's got to be on TV. Football team. You're always looking to see what uniform they're going to wear.
Oh yeah, I know.
But the basketball, but it's hard to get that balanced market. Even Florida, they won those back-to-back national championships, but it's not like Duke winning back-to-back championships.
Right.
They're still overshadowed
They were
by
more,
the football.
yeah, they're still in that Tim Tebow year. I mean, it was right on the same time. UNC did a good job this past year as well.
Yeah, but it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
It's hard to be dominant and to be.
When you go to a school, you think, oh, either football or basketball. You're not like, whoa, I got two.
Yeah. Because those athletes, they're those athletes you need to be game changers. There's a branding association that's going on there,
totally agree.
And so forth. Now, Shaka Smart, he was at Virginia Commonwealth and got them to the Final Four.
Right.
And he stayed there a long time, did some good things. I'm convinced that a tennis guy chased him out of town. My friend Paul Costin coaches at Virginia Commonwealth. He's won over 1,000 matches, 45 conference championships. The VCU men's team has been to the finals of the NCAA and the women's. So I'm convinced it went down like this. Shaka got to the Final Four. He goes home and talks to his wife. And the wife says, "You're not even the best coach at the freaking VCU." That's Paul Costin. So he had to go home every day to his wife saying, "Hey, I'm not even the best coach." So the tennis coach, I'm convinced, chased Shaka. Shaka didn't do it. That's why we work together. So Shaka went to Texas not for the money, it's to get out of town. Now he's the best coach at Texas.
Well,
VCU, he was behind the tennis dude.
There we go.
He was behind the tennis.
If you wanted to know the secret behind why Shaka Smart left, you just got it.
I'm telling you, it's behind the scenes. Now, what else is happening in sports? What rubs you in sports the wrong way? Do you ever watch something on TV, get your sport, and there's something that rubs you?
Right. Well, I think the biggest thing right now is the stupidity. Some professional and collegiate athletes who are quite amazing. I understand they're on the spotlight and it's hard life and blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But you're getting paid. You're getting paid for the most part. College athletes obviously excluded. You're getting paid to be in the spotlight, and you might as well act like it. Yeah. And it kind of makes me mad when these people do these stupid things, and you know, they have all this talent, but then they are, you know, smoking weed or doing. Just stay away from the stuff for a second. So that,
or if you do, try not to just check to see if there's a camera around.
Check to see if there's a camera around. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And nowadays, I mean, certainly as a former college coach, to address stupidity with your team, stupidity. And also, there's two kinds of stupid: to do something stupid, but then allow something stupid to be documented. Right. And especially if it's on your phone.
If you're gonna do something stupid, try not to get caught.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you're doing it and you get videotape doing it, then you're probably gonna get caught.
Yeah. Now, let's see here. Coach Angelo, I'm just seeing if I had his cell phone in here because I just wanted to see if you. No, I have his work number. I wonder. Now, you think he's one of these coaches that picks up his work phone?
Well, it depends. Is that work phone actually his work phone, or is that work phone his cell phone? That's his work phone. That's his work phone.
So that. Angela, we're here with one of the most famous players ever to play for you. This is Darryl Cummings, 757-641-6146. I didn't give you her name because I want to see who you call back with. Who's your best player of all time? Let's see if he calls back. Anyway, okay, what about, so that rubs you the wrong way. Any other things that rub, or does that just dominate your overall rub?
No. I mean, honestly, there's some people who just have so much God-given talent, and when they're lazy.
So you don't like underachieving?
I do not like underachieving.
See, I'm accepting of underachieving from this standpoint. There's some people that overachieve because, you know, they don't have the talents and so forth. But there's some people who also achieve, like Marat Safin is a tennis player. Okay, you would think, but hey, just because you have all these God-gifted talents and you only live up to 80% of them, that isn't so bad.
No. I mean,
as a college coach, I'd rather have talent.
Talent at 80%.
I want underachieving. So if we're using the universal tennis rating, and I had a men's team, Give me an underachieving level 14 as opposed
Yeah.
to a level 12 player trying all the time.
Right.
I don't need all Rocky Balboas.
Right.
And Rocky Balboa got brain damage at some point. So,
Right.
you know, I need some Apollo Creed.
You might need, you know, one Rocky on the team just to keep you.
No, Rocky's good at 5 and 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I take that back. 5 and 6, but I like your Rocky story. But you weren't really Rocky. You were a fighter. You were more like, I mean, who would you be? Ray Boom Boom Mancini. I mean, he's a fighter.
I'll take it.
Yeah, but he wasn't that. Now, okay, let's wrap this up with what's happening in sports. What do you see happening here? We got NBA championships.
NBA playoffs.
What team do you want to win?
Okay, so Duke fan here. Always have been.
Duke's not in the NBA championship.
Yes, I know what Kyrie Irving is. So I'd probably go Cleveland only because poor Cleveland. Dear Lord, have they won a championship forever and anything?
Well, yeah, I want Cleveland to win. Now, and I want them to win because I'm a front runner. I mean, I want to see LeBron win the championship. And now, no, I'm not a front runner. It's the best storyline. Okay? It's the Warriors winning is not. You don't dislike that team. The way they play basketball, Curry, it's beautiful. But I'm a storyline kind of person, so I want the best storyline. And the best thing for the sport and for sports in general, we need Cleveland LeBron to win.
Right.
We need that storyline. And maybe it plays in well because they struggled last year.
Right.
Okay, I mean,
they were injured.
Yeah, injured. So the fact that he struggled, so if he could get one more championship, yeah. So now, who would you like to see them playing in the finals? Spurs or Warriors? Well, even the Thunder.
I mean, Thunder stole a game last night. They're up 3-2, and they're going home to take it. So, you know, and I think either of those teams give Warriors a hard time.
Yeah.
I don't think Warriors are hitting on all cylinders
and the bang up with Curry.
The bang up with Curry. I would honestly say probably. I mean.
So we want Cleveland.
We want Cleveland.
But who will Cleveland play in the semis?
Who do we want playing? I mean, Cleveland in the semis is either Toronto or Miami. Now they're 2-2 right now. They're playing.
So we want Miami.
That's the storyline.
There's no storyline with the Canadian basketball team here at all.
For Canada, no. Yeah.
Yeah, no. They're the fact that they're in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, it really is to have the Spurs against the Warriors.
Right.
That'd be a good, storyline. Certainly. Yeah, and they have the Heat against Cleveland. Okay, so we're sitting there. Upcoming tennis, we got the French Open. Best storyline, since we're storyline kind of people, what's the best storylines out there for the person to win the French? Who would we want to win?
Well, I mean, Federer is always going to be a storyline because of the fact that he is so unique as a player for the amount of years he's stretched across here.
I tell you what bugs me about it. He's on 17. I just don't like that number. I want an even number. Yeah. I mean, get 18, shut her down.
Get 18, shut it down. You know, that's 6 times 3, 9 times 2. We got multiple ways we can get there.
Yeah. Now, if he won the French, he should shut it down.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly.
Okay, so Federer. Djokovic is a storyline because career slam.
Right. He's going for the career slam.
Rafa, there's no storyline.
You know, there isn't, but I don't know if there.
That win number 10 or whatever number that is.
Right. But more the fact that he has been so, out of it for the last 8 slams at least. I mean.
Yeah, when we say out of it, he loses in the semis, the finals.
I mean, he doesn't even lose the semis in the finals lately.
A couple finals.
Loses the second round.
Murray winning.
Not really sure.
Yeah, it just doesn't do it for us.
Doesn't do it for us.
What about on the women's side?
I mean, Serena, always a storyline. That's just the bottom line.
Because that storyline transcends into the average sports fan.
And also, I totally agree. It makes someone tune in who otherwise would not.
Exactly. Because once she gets to the quarters or semis, they're going to talk about her defining history,
right?
Passing Steffi Graf, or equaling Steffi Graf, getting those slams. And I take a different approach with Serena. I look at her scores, and she's dominant, but it isn't like she's Martina dominant when Martina Navratilova. I don't see O's and ones. she's still having to fight through competitive
Right,
situations, kind of like you at 5 all.
Yeah. So I mean,
Right.
Serena's definitely the most talented, but she's not always playing her best tennis. But she finds a way,
Right.
regardless. And I like that. I do like that a lot about her.
Okay, what other sports we knocked out?
Well,
Here on the local level, in Hampton Roads, we got some tennis players that have committed to colleges. We got Connor Summers, who committed to Notre Dame.
That's great. Great school.
Brooke Pilkington is going to Delaware.
Awesome. Awesome. Colonial.
Danica Caterpillar in the United States Naval Academy.
Great. She could end up back here in Norfolk, Virginia Beach.
Clark Cummings going to the historic Hampton-Sydney, an all-boys school surrounded by 3 all-girl schools. And also at Cape Henry Collegiate had their awards banquet, and their male athlete of the year was Connor Summers.
Okay.
Their female athlete of the year was Brooke Pilkington. So what's cool, we don't see tennis players get those awards.
Right. Generally, it's the ones who are the football, basketball.
Yeah, basketball or even lacrosses and so forth. So our sport gets a little looked over from an athletic standpoint sometimes. And so from a local level, we see that going on. Also at Old Dominion University, Alosha, the men's tennis coach, just got named Coach of the Year for the region.
That's great.
Great. And the #1 player at Old Dominion got Conference Player of the Year for Conference USA.
That's awesome. Awesome.
So,
good stuff there.
So we got some good stuff going on the local level, and our calendar is filled with a lot of good sporting events. And baseball is not something we really warm up to. No. So I just want to watch.
I don't even know who's. Actually, I do know because of Mike that the Cubs are pretty decent.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
They're playing well right now.
Yeah, I would like to see the Cubs win just to get.
Yeah.
Same if the Cubs win and Cleveland win, then hey, let's get done with that story.
Yeah, let's get done with those stories. Let's start a new worst tradition too.
Yeah, I wonder who that'll be.
I don't even know who's second worst.
Well, Christin, you rock. This has been a lot of fun.
It's been a good time.
Ciao.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're done.